Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. Here with your boy Torres Finney and my co-host Tyler Layfield. What's up, Tyler?
Man, nothing much. It's been a great weekend, though.
Great weekend.
Heck of a weekend in college football. So there's plenty to dive into, man. Had me on my toes for a good portion of this weekend. So what else is there to say, man?
Man, look, you're not the only one, bro. I was on my toes for the majority myself. Doing this real quick to make sure everybody get to tune in. That's right, tune in all over.
Yeah,
Bro,
I'm putting it up now. I changed it to public, so we're good to go there.
so one of the things that is for me personally is the fact that you look at this entire week. And yes, the rivalry. But before I get to the rivalry, I want to give a quick shout out to all of, obviously, you got the Georgia high school playoff that is currently happening. And then you got the playoffs for like FCS and things of that nature. But currently right now, we have the entire the Georgia High School Association playoff. My brother in Northeast.
Yep.
Man, Northeast is killing it, man.
Taking down the number one seed.
The number one seed. So look, I'm already jumping in scenarios with them. I know we're about to jump in a bunch of scenarios, but I'm already jumping in scenarios with them. They just beat Fannin County, who was the number one seed on that side of the bracket, went on the road in their spot. Not only beat them, but they beat them 48-39, dominant victory. When that wasn't dominant, it was back and forth, but Nick Warford, he had 340 yards and 4 touchdowns. Man is a top tier running back, and yes,
Chase is already he's already starting. He's already starting here today.
Hey, with the way Florida State been playing, I might take a chance with Northeast beating them. So look,
we're gonna get to that, Chase.
Is looking phenomenal, man. They got a home game. This is the first time in their school history they're in the Final Four in the football team. They got a home game against a very favorable Fitzgerald, which I wanted them to play. I didn't want them to play Worth County. I'm glad Fitzgerald upsetted them. They got Fitzgerald. Hey, man, I'm rooting for them boys. I hope they make it to the state championship, and I want them to play Dublin. Dublin beat them in the regular season 17-7 in Dublin. And I think a rematch in the state championship is definitely worth it. I think it'll be a good game. And I think they won't be able to contain Nick like they did the first time. So it'll be actually something to watch, big game to go to. But let's get through the Final Four. So congratulations, Northeast.
Yeah, that's probably who. I mean, if they end up winning this weekend, that's probably who they're going to play is Dublin. Dublin seems like they're the odds-on favorite to kind of go to that next level and reach them. And I was going to bring that up if you didn't. So, but of course, as a good brother should and does, you did it. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I found out the state championships. Those will be played on like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday during a week. So it won't be. Yeah. It'll be a weird. Yeah, so I won't be able to go to any of those if it was like later in the week.
Wait a minute, when they did?
That's what my dad told me today. That's the way that they were able to play in the bins. That's the only way they were going to be able to play. Mm-hmm. I'll look it up just to be more particular, but he told me that today.
I'm not going to lie to you, man. That just like, I don't know. Like, they're just stupid.
Yeah. So let's see here. Football is December 16th or 18th. You ready?
All right.
That is Monday through Wednesday.
Wow.
Sure is. So that's the reason they're letting them do it is because they're doing it on those days. So yeah. So that's going to kill some of the. I don't know. I don't like that. I'd like it being closer to the weekend.
You know what? Now you might be sounding very stupid to me, but Bibb County could be like, hey man, y'all need to go support Northeast. Let's all of Bibb County get behind them.
If they let me off work, I will definitely go. I will go, but I just doubt that happens. I seriously doubt that happens.
It ain't Jones County.
It ain't Jones County where it's one school. Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, it's. Yeah, and plus there's some tension between different schools and stuff. Like, we ain't gonna go, root for them, but they probably will do something for the high school. They probably will let Northeast let some people off for that. That's the only thing I can kind of see happening. I know for a fact
when your senior year, like Mr. Gibson already said, he said, "Y'all make a state championship now." We ain't having school, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
and so I wouldn't have been surprised. But then again, you're right. You're right.
yeah. So let's get into that rivalry weekend, though. And first and foremost, let's go ahead and start off with that Georgia Tech game that went just till freaking past midnight Friday night. Wild game, piss off game. Just had me just livid majority of this game. We did another thing where we start another game where we start off slow. We start off with drops. We let their offense get going. This, that, the other. It seemed like the whole first half, and we'll get into all of the arguments because there were plenty of arguments the next day. I don't know if you saw all the whine and all the complaining,
I did.
even the substitute whining and complaining from people that aren't even fans of Georgia Tech. Kobe, but yeah, there was plenty. Everything was going their way, man. Like everything was going their way that first half. Like literally anything that could have went right for them was going right. It was playing right into their hands. Like they were controlling the game. They were controlling the clock. They were getting what they wanted on offense, what they wanted on defense. Like it was going exactly like you could have drawn it up if you were a Georgia Tech fan. Like exactly what you would have wished for. And then the second half hit and Georgia was able to once again be resilient, fight their way back in, and win the game in 8 overtimes. I hate overtime. Good God, I hate overtime. But it seems like Kirby, when they interviewed him after the game, he was like, "Man, if we didn't have these rules, we'd still be playing out there right now." So, I mean, I don't know how realistic that is, but that's what he was saying. It was just stressful. It was just freaking.
Very stressful. Very stressful.
It was just. I was like, dude, dropping passes even still then, and it seemed like, dude, it was killing me. The whole game, if you're a Georgia Tech fan, how do you go 8 overtimes and only end up trying to run the ball in once? One time, man, when you got Haynes King, who's been running it the whole freaking day, getting what he wanted. There was like times in the game they just needed 1 yard, boom, run it right the middle with him, and it was working. How does that not happen in overtime? I don't know. Kills me.
Even when he had the false start, and we got to and they moved the ball up on that not the false. I'm sorry. The pass interference, and dude, and they moved us up. They moved Georgia Tech up to the 1, and they gonna do a play out of shotgun.
Yeah.
Run.
We need to do something about these offensive coordinators and on. Goal line, when you're on the 1 yard line, it's 4th and goal. Why are we getting in shotgun? Why are we getting on shotgun?
That is awful, but let me address what Chase Tyler, because I've seen
this because it's going to get me going, too. It's going to get me going.
Hold up. Wait a minute. When in God's green earth have we ever sat here and argued about a targeting call on a run? It's a run. How many times have people led with their head on a run? He was behind the line, the offensive line, in a pocketed area on a run.
And he tucked his head. He tucked his head down, and Dan Jackson actually hit the ball with his helmet.
It doesn't matter if he led with it. He put it on the ball.
Yeah, he hit it with the ball. I'm done with the crying on that crap, man.
And
I'm done with that crap.
With a helmet on runs multiple occasions. It is actually, yes, have we seen it been called before when an offensive player leave with their head? Yes, I've seen it called. But how often does that get called, Tyler? How often
not often at all.
On a freaking run. It's not like the quarterback was back there in the pocket and he got hit and it happened. It happened as the quarterback was running. That is not a targeting call. Who comes up with this BS?
Yeah,
that's soft. That is soft.
And not to mention, there was multiple times in the game where Georgia Tech led with their helmet. Like Dominic Lovett, actually, and here we go. Jacob's the voice of truth here, the voice of reason. Not a defenseless player, no targeting. He really wasn't defenseless. But there was a point in time I thought Dominic Lovett had a concussion. I don't know if you saw that one catch that he made where they came in and popped him in the helmet. He laid on the ground for a little bit. And then popped up. That could have been a targeting. You don't see me whining about it. Nor would I have blamed the game on it if it came down to it. I'm so tired of people blaming officials for stuff, bro. I'm so tired of. It's just like me and you always say, man, and it goes back to the MMA stuff. Never leave the decision to the judges. If you handle business when you're supposed to handle business, we can get into it here in a minute. We had a whole bunch of fights yesterday after the game, and it's because people are upset that they lost. Guess what you could have done to get away from that? You could have won the ball game. You could have handled business when you were supposed to handle it. So look, I'm over that.
And
crap.
I'm big about this too, Tyler. I'm big about this. Look, we don't nobody want to be disrespected. I agree with you. Nobody want to be disrespected. But the way to negate disrespect from when somebody wins over you is by beating them. It's like, hey, they can get up, celebrate, be the biggest dick in the room if they want to. They won the game. They won the fight. Hey, look, I'm not going to sit here like when I fought TK, I'm not that type of guy. I could easily be like, man, I told you I could have been all.
Yeah, you could have been an absolute butthole. You know what you did though? You let your fans kind of handle that, including myself. You let River, you let me, you let the whole crew kind of back you up on that one, man.
Yeah. And I'm willing to bet you, if TK would have beat me, he would have been up around, jumping and skipping and dancing and clapping. But guess what? There's nothing I could have obviously said because I would have lost. So, and I feel the same way in a football. The Ohio State player, I'm not going to let them plant that flag on our field. Cussing and being all mad. All right. Well, I wish I would have had that much energy into the game. Instead of having all this energy, everybody ready to swing fists and start fighting after the game. Well, you should have had that energy during the game for 60 minutes.
Yeah. We'll get into that more because there was so much of that yesterday. But let's put a ribbon. Let's go ahead and knock out this Georgia Tech thing real quick. Overall thoughts of it. Great comeback by Georgia in this. Able to Carson was able to put together a great second half. The defense was able to get stops when they needed to. You saw, we talked about it, but forcing the fumble late in the game, that had a big altering moment for this team when it was all said and done at the end of the game. You get to overtime, they were able to get a stop, even a stop when Georgia Tech moved up to the 1 yard line. They were able to get a stop, and then were able to run the ball in ultimately to win the ball game. So great win for Georgia. I mean, my dad, I called him right after, and of course my dad, Torres knows my dad. They still suck. Like I said, I can't be mad with a win, man. I can't be mad with a win.
I want to ask you this. What did Louis say when Georgia won those national championships? I don't think I've ever asked you.
Louis is like one of the hardest people to please. Like when it comes to this.
Jordan is spoken of. It's all Jordan can.
Well, he did the same thing I did in the what was it, the 2021 when both of us cried, in that moment, because it was just. Man, it was just a freaking emotional, night, winning that one. Second one, it was just so anticlimactic. There was nothing really much to say except, okay, like, yeah, we won, 53-0.
What about the
Ohio State? I wasn't with them that night. Remember, I was actually there live.
You was at the game. I know.
I was at the game. Now, that was amazing. I can't even remember what he said because I wasn't with him. He's just, sometimes it's better to not be with him than to be with him. Does Texas seek revenge in the SEC championship? Of course. Not affecting playoffs, but you think Texas is going to play harder, coming in bitter? I mean, probably. They're probably coming playing harder. And we're going to get into a preview of that one here soon. While y'all are here, hey, share this stream. Let's get it out to more people. Let's see if we can get some more folks chiming in. But, yeah, we're going to get around to that, Chase, and we'll see what you say on it as well. But just tying that together real quick, good win, Georgia. All props to Georgia Tech. Before anybody wants to come out and be like, Georgia's buttholes, Georgia fans are buttholes about stuff. Dude, all respect. Haynes King played his freaking heart out. You got to love players like that. Like if you're a fan of a team and you got a guy like that riding for you, playing for you, putting his body on the line for you like that, can't help but feel good about your team with that, man. He played a great game. He was picking us apart that whole first half, identifying the blitz, seeing where the openings were in the defense and just delivering. And then the runs were just amazing. The dude put on a freaking clinic, man. Him and Faulkner both, which we got to talk about that here in a second. But, yeah, good game. Georgia Tech, I don't know if we would have seen a similar they definitely would have celebrated. They may would have tried to do like a plant the flag on the Georgia. So things could have been different if they would have won. There may have been some stuff pop off in that game, but luckily I guess we'll never know. But we'll see how next year is. Next year's going to be in the bins, which I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm on. Yeah,
No,
did you hear about that? Yeah, it's going to be in the
did
bins.
not.
So we're going to have to see how that one is.
Might be a game
Chase,
we might go to.
yeah, from experience, I don't even know if Georgia fans are the worst. Alabama and FSU are up there. Definitely Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama's up there.
Yeah, he's just a troll. But
I'm gonna tell you another one up there for me.
FSU's up there.
Tennessee fans.
Yeah, you're right there in the midst of them, so you can't help but be there with them.
The
one thing I'll say,
they don't think anything is bad in their eyes. They think they're gonna win a championship every year. I can't deal with those guys.
They got a chance. I mean, I'll give them a chance just like I will just about anybody. And we'll get to those playoff odds here in a little bit too. But yeah, they do get quite amped up whenever anything starts. Like these past couple seasons, the highs they've gotten middle of the season where they're just like, yeah, we're unbeatable. It's funny. But to tie it all together though, Buster Faulkner. This is rumors that we just started hearing late last night. I don't know. I haven't been able to really tell Torres about it. I think he saw it in the group chat when I asked Jackson about it. But Buster Faulkner, offensive coordinator from Georgia Tech. He was once our QB coach at Georgia. He left to be the offensive coordinator there. There is talks that Bobo will step back to an analyst role because he wants to be more like Muschamp, be there for his kid, kind of take a back seat a little bit, chill out. And then Faulkner can come in and be the OC. And there's actually some smoke to this. It's actually coming from a lot of different sources right now. Faulkner is tied to the area too because his wife is there, his kids are there, go to school there. And, of course, this would be an upgrade over Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech's awesome and everything, but, I mean, it's Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So that's some big things. Chase said $100,000 fines handed out to OSU and Michigan for post-game shenanigans. Yeah, it was probably going to come. We'll see if what'll be interesting is if any suspensions come out of that because that will really alter, Ohio State with their first college football playoff game. I doubt they do that. I doubt the Big Ten would, hamstring one of their teams like that. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and get into it.
But
that was
I'm gonna say something about the Faulkner coming to Bobo.
Have at it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really think that's a little bit of a cover up. Not saying what two things can be true. That is very true. Where Bobo definitely needs to take a step back with his kids and his family. But it's more of it sounds more to me as Kirby's in the office. Hey Bobo, we're gonna play you up something. We're gonna string something up to make it look like you're stepping down.
Could be that too.
Because it's either that or we just straight up firing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because
I don't know if he'd do him like that.
Oh no,
that's his boy,
bro. Oh no, bro. That Georgia Tech. Now look, you can't blame it all on Bobo. I agree, you can't. But my God, he's a big part of it. Screen left, screen right. I'm sick of it. But
I'm at the point now too, though, where, and we're gonna see some stuff this weekend. It's just like, honestly, what can you do with these receivers sometimes?
And because that's the other part of
that kind of hurts it because maybe it's not all him. Maybe he's just trying to drop some play where they can actually catch it because there were. Dude, we lead the nation. We lead the nation in drops. It's just that simple, and it sucks. And it's so frustrating. So I can't put everything quite on him, but it has been pretty bad this year. The screen stuff. It didn't feel like there was as many this last game. I don't know. It didn't feel like there was as many screens, but there were some.
Well, you know what? And I think something that might handicap Bobo as well, along with the receivers dropping the ball. I still don't think his screen left, screen right play calling is great, but I do think when you don't have an efficient running game, I think that can also handicap the offense. We don't have nobody really back there to just go. Like we're playing running back by committee, and
I feel like if the offensive line would get more push, maybe we could see some more. Because I do believe in Frazier. We've seen Frazier pop. We saw it week 1.
We did.
Roderick Robinson, he's just coming back. Branson Robinson will just be coming back. ETN, there's reports today that he's trying to push to play in the SEC championship game. He's not done for the season like we thought. So he's pushed for that. We could see him postseason, so that's good. But yeah, we'll see about that kind of stuff. So you want to dive into the rest of Rivalry Weekend real quick?
Let's do it.
All right. 2 games were really hot in the opening slate, and that was Michigan, Ohio State, and Clemson, South Carolina. Those were the 2 hot games to watch. I was going back and forth. It was amazing. I missed some of them, and obviously, oh God, we got Chase talking trash about ETN. ETN's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. He's the best we got. So we'll get behind him. We like him. But those two were great games. Obviously, we talked about the ending to Michigan Ohio State. Quite the ending. You can't talk about that game without talking about Ryan Day and the future of him at Ohio State, because
No question.
this is it fourth straight year he's lost to Michigan? Four straight years, and I don't think he's beaten them since he's been there, right?
He's beat them once. He beat them once. 2020.
His first year.
The COVID year. With
COVID year. So you can even put an asterisk next to that if you wanted to. So you got that. Everything lines up for you. You're the better team this year. You went out and you got Jeremiah Smith. You went out and you got Caleb Downs. You went out and got Will Howard. You went out and got Quinshon Judkins. You got all these tools. You got them on both sides of the ball, baby. And not only that, you're playing your rivalry. You're playing your rival team at their weakest point. This is the worst they have been since you've been the head coach at Ohio State. They have no quarterback. They have no offense. Their best offensive weapon as a receiver, the tight end Loveland, he's out. One of the best defensive players, Will Johnson, he's out. You're playing at your home. Everything is lined up for you, and you still manage to lose the big game.
Yep.
The question is, Torres, is this enough to be a fireable offense for Ryan Day?
On the break, you got one shot left. The only thing that's going to save Ryan Day his job is if he wins the national championship. You might even call me crazy. Some people say, well, what if he wins one playoff game? Nope. What if he makes it to the semis? Nope. Bro, you've lost to Michigan 4 straight years, in my opinion, with the number. You spent $20 million. I can give you a pass on the Oregon loss because you lost to him on the road by 1
last
point.
second.
I give you that. Last second, I give you that. But at home, against the worst Michigan team, probably in the past, 10 years since Brady Hoke was there, before Jim Harbaugh, this is the worst Michigan. This literally is the worst Michigan team since pre-Harbaugh era. And you sit here to tell me that this guy has a $20 million roster, Caleb Downs, Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, who all they got? Travion Henson,
Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Travion Henderson. Yeah, you just go down the list. It's just studs on studs on studs.
Come on now. And any coaching staff in the country would love to be behind that team, being the anchor to it. And you're telling me you sitting there, don't know what to do. Your team out there fighting. You just standing there looking around. I can guarantee you this, and it just ain't me just saying it because I'm a Georgia fan. If Kirby had them boys, I've seen when Georgia's winning the game and everybody getting excited, and he's running up and down the sideline cussing and yelling at them, get your butt back.
Yeah. I like that. I like that kind of thing.
I do like that type of coaching. So, this guy just sitting there with like a deer in headlights.
He didn't do himself any favors with his reactions.
He lost this game. It's bad coaching. You only had 10 points at home. Some decision makings came into play. I mean, the stats were awful. Will Howard, again, I've said it before, he's not that great. He's okay at best. I think if they had a little bit more of a dynamic quarterback, they could probably be in a better position.
Which they typically do.
You're right, which they typically do, which is crazy, right? Didn't Will Howard transfer? He
transferred from Kansas State, yeah.
Exactly. So
they had McCord, if I'm not mistaken, and he went to Syracuse, which, funny enough, Syracuse is he's done pretty good at Syracuse, and Syracuse looked good, and we'll get into that one too.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you throwing picks in certain areas, throwing the interceptions on your 3-yard line, throwing interceptions, on the Michigan 16-yard line. I mean, it's a lot of things. And plus,
he's doing that scramble crap where he scrambles and he wastes time at the end of a game instead of throwing it away or something. I don't know. He's not very smart in situations.
Michigan had 2 interceptions, and Ohio State is going to sing one. Michigan went for it on fourth down at day 3. They couldn't capitalize and turn it into anything. Like Ohio State didn't turn anything into points. So
Yeah, and another thing is the field goal kicker. They still haven't solved that. He missed 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. He missed 2.
Different guy from the Peach Bowl too. This is a whole different guy.
You can't make this up, man. I just don't think this is a really good football team, and I think this is going to be a problem. I'm being honest with you, man. I don't think. I'm being honest with you, man. I just think Ryan Day's on the hot seat. And I would be even more inclined if they lose their first playoff game. Because somebody said, imagine if Ohio State first game is going on the road to a Tennessee. And let me tell you something.
That would be interesting.
Neyland Stadium.
Yeah.
First ever home playoff game in the years college football playoff. First ever in history. You telling me that sea of orange ain't going to be rocking?
It will be. That would be I would like to see that game. I would really like to see that game.
Ohio State having to go to Tennessee? Oh my gosh. And you lose that game when you're supposed to be the more talented team? Bye-bye, Ron Day. Somebody going all up but y'all might well bring back Urban Meyer at this rate.
Another thing, if he comes back, we'll have to see. I mean, last time we seen him, he was at the Jaguars, and he was messing with women, and he sucked. Yeah, so it was a whole... Yeah. So, but, the other thing, you got to think of here with Day. Oh, yeah, the other thing that I saw about with him, really, they said that I've seen some posts that he's lost kind of control of the team. That that the players are just kind of out of touch with him. They're not really listening to him. If that is indeed the case, that's pretty freaking bad. He's probably on his way out. So if those are true, I mean that's something I just saw on Twitter. So it could, for all I know, it couldn't mean much at all. But yeah. And then after the game, Michigan gets the flag. They plant it, and then this other guy starts running around with it. And the fight ensues. It was pretty fun watching. I'm not going to lie. I really did enjoy watching it. It was very entertaining to me. The whole fight, the police getting out there and pepper spraying Michigan players was wild. As Chase kind of said, they fined both teams. We'll see if there's any suspensions that come out of it. But wild scene. Now, before we get into it, they were not the only team, or this was not the only game where we saw teams try to plant a flag or something like that, and then a fight break out. What is your take on? I know you gave a kind of a little bit of a sense of it, but what is your take on teams that lose at home, refusing to let a flag be planted? Because part of me is like, yeah, I'm with you that you should have handled business in the game, just win the game and you prevent it. Yeah. But also at the other side of it, the flip side of the coin, I kind of like that these players have enough pride in their program and the tradition and things of that nature that you're willing to step up and get into the face of them and say, no, you're not freaking doing that. This is my house. This is my place. You're not about to do that. So what is your take on it?
Yes, I agree. I actually agree with you on both sides on that. I definitely think seeing that school pride. We talk about with the NIL and all the things that go on right now currently with players, and I'm just gonna go with a quick thing. Justin Tucker sucks right now. This man has missed 3 field goals.
Yeah, it's been a bad season for him.
Awful season, but to see it here and see people have that, he's probably gonna be going. We talking about somebody getting fired. He's probably gonna be going soon himself. So yeah, but to seeing the NIL and all the things that are currently going on. You constantly see that you don't think that a lot of these athletes have school pride anymore, especially with the way that people are able to transfer left and right. You actually think like, oh man, there's no more school pride that goes on in college football. But to see these guys willing to stand up like, hey man, you're not going to plant a flag on my field, for my school, for my alma mater. That says something for it. That does say something. But then on the other side, win the game, you won't have to worry about that. You can put your own flag on your own field. It's like, yeah. But I'm not mad at either side necessarily, but there is a consequence. And being the team that fighting because you're pissed off that you lost, do better. Yeah. Like I said, now look, and I'm glad that they're not going to sit there and deal with disrespect. I like that. I'm not going to sit here and deal with disrespect. I love that. Mm-hmm. But the flip side, just win the game. You won't have to deal with disrespect.
Yeah. Chase said FSU cut up Florida's turf last year. then cries when Florida plants the flag. Yeah, I saw that. And we could talk about that here too. Florida beating the crap out of Florida State. Florida State having a 2-win season. It's just rough. Dude's been through it. I guess he's at the last straw. And when Florida went out there to plant the flag, he took offense of it. I saw that. Did you see the clip of that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, went out there, got in Billy Napier's face, ended up snatching the flag, things like that. Yeah, it's a two-way street. So I agree with you, Chase. You can't be, one season wanting to destroy some crap against your rival, and then the next year when they want to do it, when they want to kind of do something, you kind of take offense to it. So I agree with you. It can't be one way on that. Other big game we had in the noon window was Clemson, South Carolina. And that was a good one as well. Clemson, it was kind of a little bit of back and forth there in the second half. The quarterback for South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, looked amazing. That dude can really freaking run, man. He was delivering some pretty good passes, making some good plays. It was pretty awesome. Chase, or look at this, Torres. That Chase just it's not letting me show it. Justin Rogers would have had our A word, is what Chase said. So I'm guessing you agree on that one.
Well,
there it is.
Yeah. He would have. He would have. Cole Rogers would have. He would have went to work. But I'm gonna tell you this. Lenore Sellers for South Carolina look absolutely phenomenal.
He did. They are on a heater. They are looking good.
They are. They won 6 straight games. I picked Clemson to beat them. We had our picks last week. I did pick Clemson to win. I thought Clemson had it in the bag, man. I really did. And Lenore Sellers, play after play after play. When things wasn't going right, he said, I'm going to take this game in my own hands, and I'm going to show you why I deserve to win. And this man on the road in Clemson, Death Valley knowing if they win that game, they're in the playoff. Because whatever happened yesterday with Miami and everything, Clemson didn't have to win that game, as we see. For an ACC championship game, but for them to have a guaranteed spot in the playoffs, that game would have cemented their legacy, being in the playoffs this year. And Lenore Sellers was like, well, I think we have something to say still personally, and they still kept themselves in talk for playoffs for themselves. So
potentially, we'll get into their chances here in a minute.
Yeah, we'll potentially get into their chance. So great game by South Carolina, man, and great shot by Clemson. That was really 2 good football games, man. And there was a lot of good football games on yesterday. Good football.
Yeah, they it looked like Clemson was going to pull it out there in the end. Klubnik was leading the Clemson offense down the field, and it looked like potentially a game-winning field goal was going to be in place. They were in that range, and then all of a sudden, South Carolina has a defender that makes like a really good, fingertip catch, and sure enough, that closes it out. I did see some stuff after that game where some South Carolina fans made their way out onto the field and were getting belts and popping the Clemson logo in the middle of the field. And there was a guy with a baby face on about Baby Dabo, Whiny Dabo, something like that. That was wild. Other games we had, other fights we had, North Carolina State, North Carolina. I think we saw that one as well. That one ended up turning out to a brawl. Arizona State, they went out and tried to plant a trident in the middle of the field. That caused some stuff with Arizona. Let me see here. What else did we have? Let's see. Tennessee and Vanderbilt. I didn't really get to catch much of that, but at first it looked like Vanderbilt was really going to give them a run, and then Tennessee really pulled away. So good on them to be able to be resilient enough to win that. Penn State won theirs. Another good game we had, Notre Dame, USC. That ended up being a pretty good game, back and forth for a bit. But Notre Dame was able to close that one out. All right, Miami, Syracuse. Syracuse winning 42. It could mean something. So, Fran Brown with a big win. A guy that I really believe in. I talked about him last week. Just think he's a great coach. He came from Georgia, took over that Syracuse program. They've been pretty good this year, man. They've been solid, and they're on the up and up. He's a guy. I was talking to a Texas A&M fan last night, Colton Dingmore. He's out there, listening, or he will probably listen later on. But he said he does not like Elko, and I was like, well, who else would you want? I was like, only guy I can really think of, maybe you go get Fran Brown. Fran Brown would probably do really good at that university. So
Why you
with
don't
all the
like Elko?
resources.
Why? I think Elko's
He
solid.
says he don't think he's a good play caller. He doesn't think he's young and vibrant enough to get recruits in. Things like he just I don't know. I guess he's upset with the way things ended and the season they had and
Yeah,
things
they
of
should
that
have lost
nature.
to Auburn. I agree,
Yeah.
but you know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think A&M for what it's worth, they had a solid season. They was in a
It
run.
was
Yes, they should have
yeah.
beat. Yes, they should have beat old buddy Auburn because with all the teams the way they lost, they actually probably could have a case,
Mm-hmm.
potentially. So I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So big win by them. Miami knocked out of the ACC championship game. SMU handled business 38-6. Alabama ended up winning theirs by 14. It really wasn't much of a game at all. Auburn they couldn't capitalize on anything. Anytime they got in the red zone, they couldn't really do
All
much
those
with it.
turnovers couldn't do nothing with it.
Yeah. Missouri beat Arkansas 28-21. Indiana did exactly what Indiana needed to do, which was just come in and beat the absolute tar out of Purdue just to keep their names in the mix. So, Oregon beat Washington. We haven't really talked about this one yet, but Texas A&M. What did you see in that game?
I just saw a Texas A&M team that definitely fought hard, but Texas looked good early. At first, I was like, "This game is over." Texas had got
You did say
nothing, and I
that.
was like, "This is it. That's definitely Texas. Texas about to run through it." And it had me nervous going into the next week. I was like, "Free, they're running. They're about to run through A&M."
Mm-hmm.
And man, that second half, what I saw more of, you had those 2 turnovers in the red zone by yours. And it was making some good plays here and there. I'm going to be honest with you. If they play like that in the second half against, see, that's stupid. I don't like to say that stuff, but it's stupid. But it is what it is because that's the way the season's been going. Man, Georgia's a second half team. As we've seen for Texas against us in the second half, they didn't score any points. I saw what happened against Texas A&M.
It's
They
too
don't
true,
look as
Chase.
good in the second half. Hey, even against Vandy, big struggle in the second half. What was that team they beat this year? Was it Arkansas? I think it was Arkansas. They beat them 20-10.
Yeah.
Was it Kentucky?
I think it was Arkansas they kind of struggled with. It was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. Was it Kentucky or Arkansas?
Yeah,
It was one of them.
I think it was Arkansas. Arkansas.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, you see what Texas do with it. First half, you're like, oh, they about to get going. Second half, it's a little bit like a straight curve, and they're not consistent. Now, their defense played really good. But then you ask yourself the question, is your defense going to be able to continue to do this against a team like Georgia? Is your defense going to be able to continue to do it against a guy? Hopefully, Beck ain't throwing 3 interceptions and no touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, I don't think Beck is going to have as bad of a game as he did the first time around.
Yes. So, and that's what I'm looking at.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on a lot of it.
Yeah.
So as long as Beck don't have a no touchdown 3-pick game, we could be looking at a whole different game, and we still won by 15 points. So what I saw out of Texas, I saw they started great, but didn't end as great. Yes, defense still continue to do things, and yes, give them credit for going on the road in a tough environment and having to win in Kyle Field. Give them credit for that. Give them a lot of credit.
I think
we also got to give them the knock on the certain things that they do incorrectly, and that's the reason why I think it's going to be a solid. It's going to be a solid SEC championship game, man. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. I think you're right. So that's the most part, kind of what happened. I know the other game we were kind of following. I know you stayed up and probably watched it. That BYU Houston game, because if Houston won, then Colorado was in. Yeah, it was just a late one. Colorado handled business against Oklahoma State like we predicted. Ole Miss beat Mississippi State. And Iowa State beat Kansas State to lock in their spot to play Arizona State. So with that being said, let's move on to college football playoff scenarios here. And there was a thing I saw here. Where did I send it? I sent it to one of y'all, or one of y'all sent it to me. The Cole Kubelik. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I sent it to y'all. So, chances to make the college football playoff per ESPN All-State Playoff Predictor. This was, posted by him this morning at 9:25 a.m. Okay, So here are your top, what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Top 17 right here. Notre Dame, 99.9% chance. Obviously, they don't have a championship to play this week. They only lost the one game against Northern Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
They're in. They're in. So obviously, you can't make it 100 because of just, I don't know, for purposes. Oregon, 99.9%. Even if they lose, they're in because that would be their first loss of the season. They're the only team.
The only reason why it's not 100 because 100 means guaranteed.
And you can't
get
technically
for some God-given reason. I mean, until it's actually in writing, it's stupid.
Yeah.
But yes, these teams are 100%.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame ain't playing another game, so I don't know what happened.
No, Notre Dame's not playing another game. Oregon, whether they lose or not, that would be their only loss. They're in. Texas, 99.9%. Okay, like we said, and even if they lose, even if they were to lose the SEC championship game, because what was it last night in our group chat? Kobe was trying to say they could get knocked in.
I said, how you gonna go from 3? Now they're number 2. How they gonna go from 2 to 0?
Yeah, it's not happening.
Come on, man. Come on now.
It's not happening. They're going to be in.
Yeah.
Penn State, 99.7%. So even if they lose to Oregon, they are in. Okay. UGA, this one was interesting, 99.2%. So it looks like even if they were to lose, as long as it isn't a blowout fashion, it seems like they're in.
I said this. I know you have me on record. Everybody has me on record. I said it. 3-loss.
You don't want a 3-loss team. Yep.
But here's these but. The only way a 3-loss team, as I have said on record, would require these other teams losing, which has happened, gives us a chance, not only Georgia, but a lot of other 3-loss teams opportunities. So, and that's the reason why I said 12 teams was too much. Because now, heck, things like that keep happening year after year. We're going to probably see a 4-loss team in the freaking playoffs at this rate. So, like, yeah.
Could be one day we might see that, yeah.
It's crazy. So you said Georgia?
Georgia at 99.2%. So do you agree that they get in even with a loss?
Yes, even if I know this might sound stupid, but even if they get blown out, yes. You have to ask yourself the question, there's 12 teams. And with Georgia resume overall, by beating a team like Tennessee, by beating a team
Texas.
By beating Texas already, who will now be the SEC champion, and you're like, well, yes, they beat us, but we beat them, which is
so it's a wash.
Champion. It's a wash, and then also, look, just look at what they've done throughout the season, man. They just continue to keep winning. So yeah, I'd say Georgia in one of
may not be pretty. It may not be the prettiest, but they end up winning it.
Always not been pretty. And look, somebody made a great point. This is the worst year of Georgia since 2016. I 100% agree on that. But even then, we are still one of the top teams that still can make a run towards the Natty, even though I'm not the biggest fan leading to it. Because, gosh, every game I have my heart about to fall out of my chest. I'm over here biting.
Especially, yeah.
I said I was on my toenails after my fingernails. I had nothing left, dude. Georgia definitely get you watching games like that. But, man, they definitely are a team in the running. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
We're happy on that. At least we're a team in the running.
So that right now, I've read to you 5 so far. The sixth one is Indiana at 99%. That's a given. They're guaranteed. Six guarantees. Then you get to Ohio State, 97%. They're pretty much a guaranteed. They're guaranteed. They're guaranteed.
They're guaranteed.
Yeah. They're guaranteed.
Oh my goodness, I don't see anything with them making them fall out.
And you got one more team that's a guaranteed. You know what that is? You know what team that is? That's exactly right. Tennessee has a 97% chance there. So they don't have to play another game. They only got, one loss? Ain't that right?
Who, Tennessee? Tennessee
got two. That's right. Arkansas and Georgia. Then you go to our first one that's, you can make a case, but they have a pretty good chance here. SMU, 71% chance.
Question. How many do we have guaranteed? 8?
That is 8, yeah.
8. Okay.
4 more spots left here.
Okay.
And one of them is gonna be either Clemson or SMU. The question is, if SMU loses the ACC championship game, do they still get in? What do
That's a
you
good
say?
question. And when you look at a resume, you ask yourself, all right, who have SMU beaten?
Who have
SMU
they?
has not beaten a ranked team in the top 25 currently or even then. Um, that's going to be very dependent. That's going to be very dependent because BYU is not a bad loss. BYU is right in the top 25. BYU is one of the better Big 12 teams. They were literally in the running to be playing in the Big 12 championship. So you can't say they lost to a bad team. They lost to a
Yeah.
Big 12 BYU team by 3 points, who was undefeated for majority of the season. So that's not a bad loss. You lose to Clemson.
Best win you got is who though? Is it well technically? Hold on, they did beat Louisville, and they are ranked in the top 25. They're
Louisville is
22.
ranked.
They
Well,
did beat them,
well,
and
well.
they beat Duke, who might be ranked after this week.
You're right. Duke is 9-3.
Then they beat Pitt when they were ranked 18,
Okay.
and at one point Boston College was ranked, but they didn't beat them while they were ranked,
Why they ranked?
and
Okay. Okay.
and that's it. So I mean, it's a little better than we thought.
Yeah, it is a little bit better. Okay, I forgot. Well, see if that's the case, SMU has a big argument to lose to Clemson. Yes, you'll be saying, boy, you man, they just lost to a 3-loss team. A 3-loss team that's in the ACC. This is your ACC champion. It's no, see, when people start looking, but man, they're 3-loss, they're 2-loss. That loss don't mean anything anymore when they're our champion. They're the champion of the entire conference. Now, you can sit here and say, well, man, y'all entire conference is sorry. But let's just say if Texas A&M would have won yesterday, and then Texas A&M would have won the SEC championship game. Would you say the entire SEC is sorry because Texas A&M won the conference?
No,
No. You can't say that. So
Mm-mm.
Florida State would be the champion of the ACC conference. I mean, sorry, Clemson would be. Clemson would be the champion of the ACC conference. Losing only to the conference champion and to BYU, who's only got 2 losses. Hey, I think it'd be worthy enough to say even with a loss, they get in. And they
Yeah.
a close game. Now, them is a little
Yeah.
different than what Georgia's situation is.
It
That
does
has
have to be a close game, I feel like. Yeah,
That has to be a
I
close
feel like it does. You're right. The next team you got is Boise State at 67%, which the team they'll be playing is UNLV. They have a 30% chance to make it. So one of those teams will knock the other one out.
Yep.
Is that pretty safe to say? Yeah. Then you got Iowa State at 55% and Arizona State at 43%. So one of those is going to knock the other one out as well.
Yes.
And the Big 12 conference. I already talked about Clemson. They're at 42% chance. They don't get in if they don't win. That's just simply it now, right? Yeah, they're done. Okay. Miami at 28%. Do they still sneak in with a loss to Georgia Tech and a loss to Syracuse?
So what's going to be funny is,
I thought they might do it.
we usually will have to wait till after the championship week to know a lot of this stuff. We actually is going to know if Alabama is in or not after this game. I mean, on Tuesday. We want to know if Miami, because none of these teams
Elaborate.
Because none of these teams play in the championship. There's nothing that's going to change on championship week besides whether the ACC champion is either Clemson or SMU. If Clemson wins, that knocks everybody out because SMU was going to be the next team. SMU is going to be the last team to go in. If SMU wins, well, that's the argument. Is it going to be Miami, Alabama, or South Carolina? But the thing is, that decision is going to be made this week. Reason why?
By where they're ranked.
By where they are ranked. If Alabama is ranked above Miami and SMU wins, go ahead and put Alabama in the playoff because that's what's going to happen. But if Clemson wins, that knocks all of them out, personally. Now, they could make a decision where it's like, oh, we're going to jump Alabama over SMU. That would be some BS. I don't care. Like, it just destroys the argument. We've already dealt with Alabama last year against undefeated Florida State. Then you jumped them over a team that played in the conference championship, where this team had 3 losses and got blown out. Especially if SMU loses 2 close games, and you've been blown out in one of them by Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And SMU
Feel like you got to put SMU over Alabama.
Yes, you have to put SMU.
Yeah.
The only 2 losses to 2 ranked teams, one by 3, and it could be a close one by Clemson. Yes, you got to put SMU in.
Yeah, but, and if they win, that's even more the case that they should be above them.
So that's the reason why I'm saying will know whether or not Miami is going to be in the playoff this Tuesday. Now, personally, I don't care what nobody say, man. Those 3 losses, bro. I'm sorry. Those 3 losses, bro. You lost to Oklahoma 24-3. You didn't score a single touchdown on the road to a team you was a 20.5-point favorite over. You lost to Vandy. Yes, you lost to Tennessee. Like, I can't give you lost to 2 unranked teams. Now, yes, did Miami lose to 2?
Miami did too, yeah.
Yes, they did.
Were they closer?
They were closer.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing too, Tyler, that I think people are not paying attention to. Syracuse is only a 3-loss team.
You're correct. I thought, they're actually not a bad team.
They're not.
And we've already seen Georgia Tech. They're not a bad team. That's another team that beat Miami.
They took Georgia to the break.
Yeah.
And they played that game in Georgia Tech. And they played that game in Syracuse. Now, yes, I know all the Alabama games are losses on the road, but so is Miami, and to solid teams. So we can no longer keep looking at these teams and be like, well, man, they unranked. They're not good. Well, I'm sorry. Duke is 9-3. Syracuse is 9-3. We can't say these teams aren't good. Are they national championship contenders? Not necessarily. But Alabama lost to Vandy, Oklahoma, who are surely not national championship contenders. So we can't sit here and talk about that. So
yeah,
I can see both sides, but I'm looking at Miami and I'm like, Miami, in my opinion, should not fall behind Alabama. They lost.
Yeah.
Is their defense good? No.
They didn't make it to a conference championship. Neither did Alabama. They lost to 2 unranked teams. So did Alabama. But Alabama also, who was the third loss? It was Vanderbilt.
Tennessee.
That's right. Tennessee was a ranked loss, but that's an extra loss. So for the record, win or lose, we've locked in Oregon, Ohio State, because obviously they can't do anything anyways, right? Then you got Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame. We're going to skip Miami for right now. Georgia, Tennessee, Indiana. Those are your 8 that are locked in. You got 4 more spots. One of those spots is going to go to either Boise State or UNLV. Mm-hmm. So that leaves us with 3.
With 3.
One of those spots is going to go to SMU or Clemson. That leaves us with 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we got 2 more spots.
The Big 12 champion.
One of them is going to be the Big 12 champion, mm-hmm. and the other one is either going to be Miami, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So that's the final spot is what we're looking at.
Can somebody help me out with the case on South Carolina?
Case on South Carolina is they're getting hot. They're hot. Team. They're the new hotness.
You can say they're the hottest SEC team in the country right now. You can say that. You know what?
They're hot. They're just hot right now.
I would like to see South Carolina play Texas right now.
Yeah.
I would like to see that game. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think Texas will beat them.
But the question then becomes, because they lost to LSU, they lost to Alabama, both of them close games. You could argue the LSU when they got screwed in. We talked about that. Yeah. Alabama, they lost by 2. They had a chance to win that one. And then they lost also. Wait, where's the other loss at? Hang on.
Ole Miss.
It is Ole Miss. Yeah, and they got beat 27. So that's the ugly one. That's the only ugly one. That was at your home. That one does kind of suck. That one stings a bit.
Well, let me ask you this. What is the case that Alabama is over Ole Miss?
I guess just basically pedigree. That's the only thing I can kind of see. Ole Miss is the team that choked to Florida, and Alabama.
Different than them losing to Oklahoma.
You're right. It's just I do think we're going to see some bias in that sense. I think that when it's all said and done, you kind of lean to the dude that's been around longer.
Okay, but see, this is what I'm talking about. At least they lost close games. I know we're over here talking in semantics, but at least they lost close games to Florida. At least they lost because it was a 1-score game to Florida.
Bama's best win is against Georgia. Ole Miss's best game is against Georgia, right? Those are the 2 best wins both of them have,
both
right?
Win. One blew them out, the other one had a Titan.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. Ole Miss dominated that game. Regardless, it was only 18-point difference, but they dominated that game.
I know Ole
They
Miss
lost to
LSU.
LSU just like South Carolina did, 3 points. They also lost to Kentucky by 3 at home.
All right.
That Kentucky one stings.
But Ole Miss beat. Did Ole Miss play Oklahoma?
They did 26-14. They won
Okay, where was that game?
at Ole Miss.
Okay, at Ole Miss. Okay,
Yeah.
but they beat Ole Miss. All right. Now South Carolina played at Oklahoma, beat them 35-9. Am I correct?
South Carolina. Let me look. Hang on, I got you. South Carolina played Oklahoma. You said.
Yes.
Let's see here. Clicking on it now. They played Oklahoma and they beat them at Oklahoma 35-9.
That's what I said. Okay, so
Yeah.
beat 35-9. All right, so we got 2 teams over here that beat the Oklahoma team. They beat Alabama. Now, yes, what hurts them is Alabama did beat South Carolina. Yes, but what I'm still trying to figure out
Well, who's ranked higher right now?
why is Alabama ranked higher than all of them? Is Alabama
Is Ole Miss has Ole Miss or South Carolina did more, but then has Ole Miss or South Carolina done more than Alabama between last week and this week?
No.
Well, I mean, I think South Carolina. Them beating a ranked Clemson team at their own place, right? Then they beat them at Clemson.
Yeah.
To me, that might move the needle a little bit. But then you got Alabama. They just played an unranked Auburn at Tuscaloosa. So, I mean, it just depends on what you weigh out more. Do you weigh out more that South Carolina's win away, during rivalry week against a ranked ACC team that's going to the ACC championship? Do you rank that higher? Do you rate that higher than Alabama beating an unranked Auburn? That's really what it comes down to. And I don't know if the committee is going to do enough there.
Do you think Clemson winning the ACC championship game helps their argument? Helps South Carolina's? Could it be help enough of South Carolina argument for them to jump?
I just don't know. After championship weekend, I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if they'll pull the trigger.
Well, it depends on where they'll rank South Carolina now.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. That's really what it comes down to. This week, like you said, the rankings of this week. There's one spot that everybody's fighting for, and there's a lot of teams fighting for it. So we're going to have to just see how that one plays out. We got to see what those initial rankings look like. I guarantee you, wherever I'm at, I'm going to be getting my phone blowing up about that one. That one's going to be an interesting.
That's going to be interesting.
An interesting one.
I still don't see how Bama is over Ole Miss. That's my go-to. I don't. I want somebody to explain that one to me a little bit better. How is Bama over Ole Miss? That's my only argument.
Just think about that's all I can think of is pedigree. That's all. That's literally the only thing I can come up to you with. That they've done it before. They've been in before. They know how to do this. They have proven themselves in the recent. They do it. They do it though. They do it.
Like, yeah,
I'm just telling you right now.
They keep talking about, we beat Missouri.
It's the same reason Ohio State doesn't really fall much after this. It's the same reason that Notre Dame is sitting at number 5 and they lost to Northern Illinois. It's the same reason for all this kind of stuff, man. Like it just happens.
Yeah, because I'm looking at a guy like I'm looking at Ole Miss. Like, did Ole Miss beat Texas A&M?
Let me see.
Or no?
I am about to look. Let's see.
I got to look at more Ole Miss, what they done. I'm going to it now.
All right. I am too.
So, Ole Miss, they lost, but they beat South Carolina, who's ranked.
They didn't play A&M. They didn't play A&M. They
beat Georgia. So, I will say, they're 2 big games. They lost out of their 3 big ranked games. Now, granted, South Carolina wasn't ranked when they beat them, but that's still what they're ranked now. So, out of their 3 ranked games, you had South Carolina, LSU, and Georgia. All right? They beat 2 of those big-time ranked teams. They lost to them. Yes, they lost to Florida, a hot, surging Florida. A Florida team that has won since the Texas game.
Does the committee put any weight on that? That'll be interesting to see.
That's true. That'll be interesting to see.
Because then what you'll have is they'll come in and say, like somebody else will come in and say, well, wasn't Auburn getting hot too? Didn't they just come off of 2 big wins? Didn't they just come off a win against Texas A&M? You know, so there's plenty of cases to be
That's
played, man.
good point. Good
It
point.
really is. There's plenty of cases to be played.
And Kentucky is not good, dude. Them
No,
losing.
they're not. No, they were not. They were a facade. Yeah, that was a
Well,
facade
hey,
big time.
their argument could be, look what Georgia did against Kentucky. And then my
Yeah,
argument would be, well, we ain't that good.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's what we're looking at now is that last spot. Will it be South Carolina? Will it be Ole Miss? Will it be Alabama? Is there any other teams in that mix that are fighting in? I think Jackson sent us something that was interesting the other day. What was the thing he sent? It was like a interesting graphic that he had seen. Let's see. Trying to find it. Here we go. Teams that are on the bubble, SMU if it loses to Alabama or loses to Clemson, Miami needs SMU to knock out Clemson. And then that one it says out of the room is 3-loss SEC teams. So the way they played it in the field are Oregon, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio State. I still think Texas is in that area.
Yeah.
Automatic bids are Clemson or SMU, whoever wins. Boise State, UNLV, whoever wins. Arizona State versus Iowa State, whoever wins. Indiana's a lock. I don't even know why that's a bubble thing on this. That's not true. SMU, if it loses to Clemson, that's a bubble team, like we said. And then so is Miami.
That Miami game is going to be the biggest for me.
Yeah.
That's going to be the biggest for me. I don't know what's going to happen with Miami, but I think that Miami game, that Miami ranking, we will know. Once we know where Miami is, everything, it's going to tell us for the rest. We don't know. We don't know Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be huge. It's very rare where we know where a lot of this ranking stuff is going to set before we're going to usually after championship week. But this week, it's going to be huge.
It's big. There's big ramifications. And then the other conversation like this one, they sent in this one too. 2-loss Miami lost to Georgia Tech and Syracuse. The best wins were Duke and Louisville. 3-loss Alabama lost to OU, Tennessee, Vandy. Best wins were UGA, Missouri, and South Carolina, which I don't know how much stock you can put into the Missouri thing. Missouri just really wasn't that good this year. 3-loss South Carolina lost to Bama, LSU, Ole Miss. Their best wins were Clemson and A&M. 3-loss Ole Miss lost to Kentucky, LSU, and Florida. Their best wins were South Carolina and Georgia. They say Bama has the best wins. Do you agree?
Yeah, they do.
They probably do. Ole Miss has the worst loss.
Yeah.
Because technically it lost to Kentucky.
Bama
has head-to-head over South Carolina, and Bama also has the hardest strength of schedule. He says it's not a debate. This person says it's not a debate if it's either Bama or Miami because they have 2 losses.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I feel like you got to lean Miami because of the 2 losses.
I think those 2 losses for Miami matters to me, man. I'm sorry. Because if we start doing this, then this playing what's in front of you. Now, I've had this argument where people kept talking about, well, look at the SEC. They said, well, these guys aren't playing really great overall schedule. But you can't say that. I think that's a subjective statement. How can you sit here and say, oh, well, since you're not playing in the SEC, you're not playing anybody worthy? How can I say that? Because from what I've seen, I've just seen an Oklahoma Big 12 team come out of the freaking Big 12 who was sorry, come into the SEC and beat one of our top teams. So I don't want to sit here and hear, well, since you're not playing in the SEC, you're not playing anything worthy. You can't make that statement and you can't make that claim. Like, yes, I might not be playing these certain calibers. I will say, yeah, you're not playing a freaking Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina every week. No, but I can make an argument for the Big Ten. I can say, well, Michigan got some good wins. You know, Michigan beat a team here and there. Michigan stole some wins for some people. Penn State, Indiana, Illinois. I can start doing the same thing with the Big Ten that I do with the SEC. Now, yes, do the SEC have more overall teams ranked? Yes. But does the Big Ten have their core people ranked? Yes. The Big Ten has what, 4 people ranked? Maybe 5? Like, come on. I can't sit here and say this conference is only good because of what we see all the time. Do I think the SEC is the best conference? I do. But just because you play the SEC don't mean you get automatic head above everybody else. You don't. So because of that, I think that's a flaw. I really do.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some championship weekend picks real quick. Let's see what you think here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. First one we got, and this is big for Torres because Torres in our pick 'em poll, or in the pool, he needs to pretty much go crazy this week if he wants to win it because Jake Wilkins has been killing it. Yeah. And yeah, he's got some catching up to do. So number 22 UNLV versus number 11 Boise State. Boise State comes in as a 3.5-point favorite. Who you got?
I got Boise. I think Boise's gonna. The reason why I got Boise in this is not only because I think they're obviously a better team than UNLV, but because this is a statement game not only for Boise, but because Boise know that they just got to win their end. But this is a statement game for Ashton Jeanty. Jeanty, they're going to be racking up. Let me tell you something. After what we just saw with Travis Hunter against Oklahoma State in the second half, they was up 40 points and he was still out there catching touchdowns.
Yeah.
Let this be known. Boise's going to probably be up 24, maybe 31. He's still going to be in that game. He's going to be there.
Well, here's the thing, though. Colorado's in a little bit different of a predicament, okay? Well, at the time, they didn't know they weren't going to be in the Big 12 championship, so I guess you can't say it all the way. But do you want to risk the possible risk of him getting injured before you get to the college football playoff and make a run there, or is the Heisman that much to you? That's what we come down to.
I agree with you, Tyler, because let's make this case. Well, you're right. You want to know why you're right on that? You're 100% right. Because we just saw what happened last year at Florida State with their quarterback being out. And we know who the best player of Boise State is. Yeah. And if the best player of Boise State gets hurt, now we're playing. They
can screw you. They can screw you in a heartbeat.
So you actually made a great point. Actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I think that changes it up. You don't want to risk injury.
No, you do not. So he might be like this. Heck, if they don't give me Heisman now with my numbers, me getting an extra 200, 300 yards, he probably ain't going to.
Yeah, I can tell you this right now. You ain't winning it regardless. He's done. Yeah, Travis Hunter done lock that up, buddy.
Don't lock it up.
I hate it's like that for you, but it is what it is. You ain't winning that one, my man.
No,
you're not winning that one. So, I'll go Boise State as well. I think they'll end up pulling that one out. They're just a better team in my opinion. So, we'll see if they end up, closing it down and winning it. So, move on to number 17 Tulane, who's had a pretty good year. They are a 4-point favorite going against Army. What you got here?
Tulane hurt themselves, man, by losing to Memphis this past week. They actually had a shot at being that final seed in because it would have actually been a big argument between a team like Tulane and potentially the Big 12 champion, depending on however many losses that Big 12 champion had. So with Tulane losing, that was huge for them. So I think Tulane's going to get that right. They're going to get it back. But it would be real interesting to see a team like Army. If Army didn't give up another game, Army won, found a way to get put in the playoff, and then we'll have to play the next week against the Navy team. It would just all have been interesting. But since none of that stuff is going to obviously happen, give me Tulane -4.
Yeah, Tulane took care of business against Navy earlier this year, run a similar offense, similar scheme. So, give me Tulane here as well. All right. Number 18, Iowa State versus number 16, Arizona State. Arizona State comes in as a 2.5-point favorite here. I'll start us off on this one. I like Arizona State. I think Arizona State's actually a pretty good team. They've caught fire here as of recent, and Iowa State has dropped a game or two that they probably shouldn't have this year. Arizona State, I really like Kenny Dillingham. I think he's a good coach. I think they got some pretty good players. So I feel pretty confident in this one. I think they're going to lock in their spot for the college football playoff this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think Arizona State one of the hottest teams. I even said this, a few weeks ago. I said, man, if Colorado made it in, they would have to play Arizona State. And I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think that would have been a game for them to be easily to win. And I don't think Iowa State is gonna be the team to beat them either. Give me Arizona State, and yes, definitely take them 2.5.
All right, number 12 Clemson sneaking into the ACC championship to face number 9 SMU. SMU comes in as a 2.5-point favorite. Ranked team they're going to go against Clemson. They have the pedigree, they have the history, they've gone to things like this before. They've won national championships. SMU, it's been a long time since they've been on the pedestal. Obviously, before the death penalty, they're making their way back. They do got a good team. Where is this game being played? Do you know?
And usually in Charlotte, North Carolina, usually the ACC championship is.
Oh,
So look at it. I don't know.
yeah. If that's the truth, obviously that's a big advantage for Charlotte, North Carolina. You're correct. That's a big advantage for Clemson. SMU, I mean, I'm sure they'll have some people travel to that game and come out and support. But in this one, I don't know, man. I feel like Clemson plus some points feels kind of good against a team that's considered a bit unproven, to most. So give me Clemson here as an underdog.
Ooh, you might have stole my pick. I actually was.
You can join me,
Clemson, and let me tell you why. Yes,
I kind of want SMU to win it, but I don't know. Something feels weird about it.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. The reason why I said that is mainly because you look at teams like how Clemson was able to play a team like South Carolina. Yes, I know Clemson lost to Georgia earlier, and they lost to Louisville. But look at the teams we're talking about them losing to. Now, do I think they're going to sit up here and beat, blow out SMU? No. But I think this game going to be mighty close. And you're right. You want to talk about a team of pedigree, a team that has life. They got life. That's all you need. We talked about this. Imagine if Georgia would have lost to Tech. I actually think they actually would have played a lot better. I think I would have probably even guaranteed them. Yes, they're gonna beat Texas. They lost Tech. Now since they know that they're in, not saying they're gonna play any easier, but there's a little pressure off. Okay.
Clemson showed some stuff too. They've been showing some stuff recently that they can fight, and then offensively, Klubnik's been better. They've Antonio Williams has been pretty solid. Their defensive line can get pressure.
That's right. And I don't think this SMU defense is going to be like South Carolina's. Has it been passed for South Carolina for the past 6 weeks? I think this SMU defense is not going to be on the level of what Clemson have seen throughout the year. I'm taking Clemson as well.
Glad to have you join me. Okay, let's see if you join me on this one. I can guarantee you know where I'm going on this one, buddy. Number 4, Penn State. Going and facing number 1 Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Oregon comes in as a 3.5-point favorite, and I am banging Oregon 3.5 points. They are going to win this. They're going to win big. Penn State is a fraud. They've always been. They are who we thought they were. We know what this team is. They are frauds. They are not the real thing, man. They are masked people that they'll show you one thing. They ain't it. They ain't built like that, bro. They just ain't. I'll eat my crow too. If I'm wrong, shoot, I'll come on here and say I'll admit I'm wrong. I just feel that confident that I am not wrong and that they are exactly who I know they are.
So you tell me. So you actually think Oregon gonna beat them by more than?
They're gonna beat them by more than. They're gonna beat them by a touchdown or more. And where's that game being played at? Hang on, let's look at it.
I honestly don't think so. Buddy.
Say what you want. That's fine. I
actually think
it's in Indianapolis.
I actually thought this line was going to be bigger.
So don't make it different.
No, they ain't going to make real much difference. I actually thought this line was going to be bigger. I thought they were going to.
If it was bigger, I wouldn't take. I don't know if I'd take it as much, but I mean 4.5. I feel pretty good about.
Well, that's the thing, though, Tyler. I think Oregon obviously wins this game, but Penn State is going to give them a fight. This is not the same. We got to remember, Penn State gave it a neck-and-neck fight, and if it wasn't for some mistakes here and there against Ohio State, like that pick in the end zone, those boys probably would have beat Ohio State. Like, that was a tight game. I think they give Oregon all the problems that they need. I definitely think Oregon wins this game, but this is not a game where it just up in the air. If I had to make a prediction, give me Oregon 28-24. They win and they come, but it's gonna be tight.
Well, you're right. Yeah, I just think they cover it. I mean, I'm willing to say I think they beat them by more than a touchdown, though. I will say that. I just, me with Penn State, I don't have the respect for them, man. I really don't. They're going to have to earn it if they want it from me. All right, last one. It's where College Game Day is going to be. It's where all eyes are going to be. Number 7, Georgia is facing number 3, Texas in the SEC championship game. Texas comes in as a 2.5-point favorite. And I'll tell you one thing, man. I love being an underdog because it don't happen too often. I really do. I love coming in as an underdog.
What was the spread when Texas played Georgia early in the year?
Let me see. Texas. Let's see here. UGA versus Texas. What? Wait, that was in October, right?
Yeah, October.
October spread. Let's see here. That was Texas was 4.5.
Wow.
So
down 2.5.
Yeah, because remember Kirby's famous quote. Y'all all doubted us. Your whole network picked against us.
They did.
We came here to eat. So everybody picked Texas. And you know what? Right now they're still doubting us. It's 2 points less. A lot of things were made of who do you want to play more, Texas or Texas A&M? And a lot of people would have said A&M. I'd rather face A&M. Again, I'd rather face them. They don't really have as good of a quarterback. They're not as proven, what have you. There's all sorts of things you can say. I think there is a point to be made. I think there is a thing that needs to be said here that Texas might be the better matchup for Georgia. I think we actually have a clear advantage on both sides of the ball as far as the trenches go. And we played them before. We won then. I think that this is a chance for them to come out, show that they're, every time we're underdogs, man, we show up to these games. We really do. And I think we can see more of the same in this instance. I feel pretty good about it. I think don't get me wrong, if Arch Manning comes in and he starts scrambling and running around, that's fine. Marcel Reed would have given us issues. I'm just telling you that right now. You can believe what you want to believe. The quarterbacks that run around like him give Georgia issues all day. We've seen it multiple times. The way we run our defense, we're gap sound. We're built to stop a traditional run game. We're not built to stop a freaking unicorn that gets back there in the backfield, can run and throw and do all sorts of crazy stuff and get out of the pocket. That just ain't our forte, man. And you've seen it. We've seen it multiple times this year, man. Milroe freaking killed us. Okay? Haynes King freaking killed us. Okay? Guess who's not going to be running freaking like a wildcat thing with Quinn Ewers? Texas. They're going to be trying to throw the ball, and that's fine.
As long as he don't get hurt.
Yeah, as long as he don't get hurt. But even then, Arch Manning came into that game earlier this year. Let's not forget, and he looked a little shell-shocked too now. So yeah. I think there's a chance here that I feel pretty good about it, man. Anytime I can get Georgia against a team we've already beat at their home crowd, we're playing in the SEC championship game. They haven't done this. This is the first year doing it. We're not favored. You give me them plus the points. Give me Georgia.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. Dude, it's hard to beat a good team twice. It's so hard.
It is.
It's hard, man.
But from what I've been hearing, Texas is just Indiana with an SEC sticker put on them.
Well, you believe that bullcrap all you want. But I guarantee you this. Texas would have beat Alabama. Texas would have beat Ole Miss. And you can
Texas would have beat Alabama.
Yes. The way Alabama been playing, wait a minute. They beat Alabama last year. And I think last year they had a better team.
Was it last year or the year before?
Last year.
I think it may have been 2 years ago, dude.
No. They beat Alabama last year because they was arguing whether or not if you put Texas in.
I thought they played a home and home.
They did play a home and home. They did. They beat them last year in Alabama. At Alabama last year.
Okay.
With because they had Milroe and they beat them. They actually beat them by 10. They beat them 34-24. So
yeah, 34-24. You're correct.
So that's what I'm saying.
What about the year before then?
The year before they played them at Texas. That when they beat them. Bama beat them at.
It was a close game. Yeah. It was close though. It was close.
Yeah, 20-19.
Yeah, and then Nick Saban said, "Get off the field." Like he was like telling because they were wanting to brag and put the horns down and all that kind of stuff. Yep. Shout out to Nick Saban.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think this. I think that Alabama team last year is obviously better than this year's Alabama team, in my personal opinion. So I don't think.
Really.
You think this year's Alabama team better than last year's?
I would have taken Alabama with Saban over this year.
I just said that, yeah. Alabama.
Okay. I thought you were saying this year's was better than last year's. Okay.
No, Alabama's team last year.
Yeah. Okay. But also, Texas's team last year was better than Texas's team this year. Yes. Yes.
No, man.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, it was. Jordan Whittington, okay, Adonai Mitchell,
yes,
okay,
yes.
wasn't Bijan or was no, it wasn't Bijan. Who was it they had last year? Who do they have at running back? I can't even remember now.
Wait, what was Bijan? Was Bijan with the
Bijan may have. Nah, Bijan went there. Bijan's been in the league 2 years now, right? Because he didn't get used really well last year. Bijan did get them issues that 2 years ago, though.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Let's see who was in that game. I'm about to look at it now. Ewers, Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks is better than what they have now. Jatavian Sanders is better than any tight end they have right now. Like, dude, I can go on. C.J. Baxter, who they don't have this year because he got hurt. Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy. Hello, Jordan Whittington was actually pretty solid.
Hold on. You might have a better roster. I don't think they was a better overall team.
They are. They were a better team, dude. They literally made it to the national championship, my man. Didn't they? No, they made it to the semifinal. They made it to the semifinal. They had Byron Murphy on defense. Who else? Devondre Sweat on defense. Dude, their defense was even better. I don't know, man. I like man. Texas's team. Better. You know what? We're throwing it in the group chat now. I'm throwing it in the group chat now.
They let Washington drop 37 on them. I don't think they were that much better. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe.
Hey, you're about to get blown out on this one, buddy.
Hey. This year's Texas team has the #1 defense in the SEC.
According to what I've heard, they play a cake schedule.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just telling you.
Well, hold up. And we're talking about a Texas team that's supposed to be better.
Hold on, Jackson's already said last year. It's just the truth. They had a better team last year.
I don't know, man.
They did. But continue on with your pick.
I feel like this year's better, but all in all,
agree to disagree.
All in all, I love Georgia. You know I do, and I never would love to pick against my dogs. But I'm gonna have to pick Texas, man.
Oh, I like it. I
don't like that. I have to pick them, but it's only because of the fact that Texas isn't a great team, man. Georgia isn't a great overall team, man.
They're not.
We show it UMass. We show it Georgia Tech. Now, look.
We're not favored here. If we were favored, I'd be right there with you. The fact that they're underdogs in it, I'm fine with it.
Well, let me tell you this. I said this already during the week. I said, yeah, we're going to go 8 overtimes with Georgia Tech, and I wouldn't be surprised next week we come into the SC Championship game and look like the national champions and beat Texas out of their brains. I wouldn't even be surprised. But Texas have something to play for. Texas don't want to lose us twice. Because
Texas, bro, both teams you can make up. I guarantee you, Kirby is conjuring all sorts of things for this team to play for.
Oh, for sure.
The fact of the matter is that if either team loses, they're still in.
Yeah, you're right. But now this is bragging rights, and for Texas purposes, you can like you said, you can do anything like who got more to play for, who doesn't. But for Texas purposes, first year in the SEC. First year SEC champions. And imagine
I don't know. There's something telling me in my head that it's not happening. So there's something telling me Georgia's
sadly, I love my dog. No, I have nothing to
but it makes me feel good because normally you're the optimist and I'm a little bit more of the pessimist. Yeah. And normally, that's how it goes. I'm fine with flipping for the time. It actually makes me feel a little bit better about my
Hey, look,
some weird way.
Earlier this year, you picked Alabama when they played them.
And I was right.
And this is the only time this year I picked against them. And this year, I'm going to pick them. So, actually, take that back. Actually, I'm wrong. I picked Texas when they played them. I
can't even remember who did I pick, man.
I picked Texas when they played them in the regular season. I did.
Did I pick UGA or Texas in that one?
I was scared after seeing how they looked. I was scared to see how they were looking. So this
I'm trying to go back and see.
Picking Texas.
If we did do picks for that one.
Or was I even? What did I do a show that week? What was that?
You may not. I don't even know, bro. I'm trying to go back and see.
Wait a minute. That wasn't October. That was right around after my fight.
Yeah. You may not have been on the show.
Been on the show then.
But you may have in your heart picked.
I did.
Texas.
Talking to people, I did pick. I did not think. Cause my dad had called me. My dad was like, "Who you got this weekend?" And I was like, "I'm going with Texas." He's like, "What? You think Texas gonna beat Georgia?" I said, "Man, I don't see how we beat them boys." I said,
"Yeah,
how we been looking? I don't see it." And
I didn't feel great about it either. Matter of fact, I may not have picked Georgia either. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't even remember. I don't have a recollection of it at the moment. I have to go back and listen to the pod. I may have had somebody on with me that day.
Wow.
Or if we did do one that week. So, yeah. But that's the picks for this week. I'm looking forward to a good championship weekend. Any last things you want to cover here?
Nah, man. Hey, excited for what's going on, what's coming up, man. Got to keep it going.
For sure, for sure. Well, guys, thank you so much out there for those of y'all that tuned into the live stream. If you listen to us on podcast, thanks for doing us a favor and listening on there as well. Continue to show your support and for us by liking, sharing, following us on our different social media platforms. Sharing us with your friends, getting the word out there about the T&T Podcast. We really do appreciate it. Thanks again for joining us, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.